about 2004. It's great to be here, and I think after what you've been talking about in terms of information, I think it's a sort of a good segue into what I'd like to talk to you all about today. Now, Facebook is, I don't know if there's anybody in the room that doesn't have a Facebook account or doesn't use social media. I think you're probably a very rare number. Even if you don't use it frequently, I think most of us are, I think it's fair to say, we sort of depend very heavily on this for business, for pleasure, for work. We have 2 billion people on our platform, and I guess the fact of, how do I make it this? And the reality of that is that sort of information is all of our responsibility. There are those of us that create information. There are those of us, like the company I work for, who are intermediaries of information. So the platform is used to basically, the flow of information of how publications and news is shared. And there are also those of us, you and I, who are consumers of information. So at the end of the day, the information is key, but obviously as we enter into these critical cycles and we talk about elections, and many of you are familiar of kind of just the abuse also of information in terms of good and bad actors. This is where it's kind of key in terms of how we look at our principles, how we look at tackling, and you mentioned this in terms of you can use literacy programs and the trainings, machine learning, artificial intelligence, thinking about how we need to get this right. Mark Zuckerberg has made this very public in terms of we need to fix this. It's important that people that come on the platform, they feel safe, especially women, especially people from minority groups. And it's also important that, if we talk about virality, if we talk about how we share information, are we responsible? Are you and I, are we demonstrating good behaviours? When we share information, are we doing this for good? I mean, of course there are good and there are bad actors. And I know many of you will remember the lynchings, the episodes of the lynching last year, and now there's a global procedure with WhatsApp to limit only the sharing of 5 forwards. So there are measures in place to improve the product. We have third-party fact checkers. We work globally with, as well as machine learning. We have 30,000 sort of human eyes, so to speak, who speak 50 languages. 16 of those are Indian languages. So we take this very seriously. We every day is progress, every day is change, and every day we need to be adaptive, and we need to make sure that we engage with the community. Our job at the end of the day is about growing the community. We want people to have a very positive experience when they come on the platform. Obviously, there's also the coordinated behaviour that we address in terms of what products that we do need to have in terms of making sure people do feel safe. We have community standards. These are public facing, and these are also adaptive to the context of where we're working. Civic harm. Now, obviously, hate speech, misinformation. What we don't want is to present any real harm issues. So again, we're working very closely. We have the news feed and teaching through literacy programs about how we as consumers, how we can report, how we can take action, and how we can sort of seek redress as well. So at the end of the day, working with partners, working with ADR and different academic institutions, civil society, also the Election Commission of India, making sure that we are listening, that we hear the concerns from various groups, from minority groups,
For instance, within the community standards guidelines, which is a global guideline, but we contextualize it very to each country that we work in. We have adapted caste in India to make sure that we meet these principles. So this is, obviously the subset, on paper is, we need a swathe of an army of people, of products, just to deal with this. And this is the job that I run across South Asia, across Central Asia, across Sri Lanka, India, Nepal, Bangladesh, Afghanistan. But basically, we have, we take this very, again, we take it very seriously. It's important because, again, as many of you know, the experience offline, many of us are having similar experiences online, and we don't want to do any harm to people. We want to make sure that they have, at the end of the day, that they feel safe, and especially women need to feel safe. There needs to be that assurance that we as a company, as a private company, are doing everything that we can to make sure that the community who is online does feel safe, and that also action is being taken to ensure that. In terms of, I mean, and at the end of the day, I mean, these, it needs to be made very clear that we're not also the arbiters of truth. That what we do when we do look at content, it's evaluated by third-party fact checkers. It's either down-ranked in the news feed to reduce, so on average, but sort of reduces the capacity by 80%. But again, we are a platform for freedom of expression, but where it does, where there are reports of misinformation, and we look at fake accounts very seriously. Just only in the last 6 months, we've taken something like 1 billion fake accounts down. So, I mean, again, those numbers just tell you, and especially as we go into this period of heightened sensitivity with the elections, this is something that we're working very closely in terms of ramping up our digital literacy programs with first-time voters, with people who are, between the ages of 18 to 21, so that they understand themselves what it means to have a safe internet, what it means to be responsible online, and what they need to look out for in cases where they may need to report certain incidents of misinformation. So just by way of closing, I think this is very clear. I think that when Mark Zuckerberg set up Facebook 14 years ago, it really is about connecting friends and family. And of course, in this modern day world that we live in, it's evolved into a different, the technology has taken different aspects of our life, right? So there are obviously, in terms of behaviors, there are people that will want to do harm with certain information, and there are obviously people that will want to do good. So, our job, working with policymakers, my job working with policymakers, civil society, is to make sure that we enhance the experience as much as possible, and that we take everything very seriously, and it's simple, and it's thank you so much for inviting Facebook here today to be able to sort of listen to you and to answer any questions, and to hopefully kind of continue also that partnership. Thank you very much.